Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brothas-in-law. We thank you all for taking time out your schedules tonight to join Mike and I in this conversation we're about to have tonight about being careful who you open your door to. There's a lot going on in the country today, and we're going to talk about this video here we have set up for you. But then we're going to talk about a couple other things that's going on out here in our communities. What's up, Zach? What's up, Tone? What's up, Goat? What's up, Stacy? Thank y'all for joining us this evening. Uh, we got a good one to talk about tonight, Zach. Not this one here, this particular incident here, but a couple of things, like I said a few seconds ago, that's going on throughout this country that we're gonna bring to light. So go ahead, hit that like, share, and subscribe button right now. What's up, Meg? Thank you for joining us tonight, and get this shared out to everyone. Mike, how you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be back. Good to be back for another week. Some good info and some good discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everybody who joins us, feel free to make those comments. Thanks everybody for joining us, and let's get it on.
Let's get it on. All right, all right, all right. So this video here, Mike, you want to set it up?
Yeah, this is which one now? Which one is this now? This is the go ahead.
What's up, Frank? This is the robbery that took place in Sacramento a few days ago.
That's right. The door
Yeah.
door-to-door salesman. You know how we always, how many times throughout the day do you get someone knocking on your door wanting to solicit something or wanting to sell something? You know, you would think that in these times and ages, door-to-door salesman would be something that you really didn't see too much of anymore. But
right.
On the contrary, you do see this door-to-door salesmen a lot. And unfortunately, in this particular video, this was a door-to-door salesman, as you guys will see, looks like a regular, nothing out of the ordinary, regular door-to-door salesman selling candy, had his box of candy and everything. And something terrible happens as a result when this door-to-door salesman comes knocking on this person's door. And so, you know, Corey and I, we saw this video on YouTube, and it's like, oh, that's a good discussion topic to talk about, to let people, make sure people are aware before they open a door, or if they even need to open a door for door-to-door solicitors, you know. Now, I ain't knocking that all door-to-door solicitors are bad. I ain't saying all that. But this video will show you why it's very important for you to consider your safety and everything else that goes along with that when you're dealing with somebody knocking on your door and you don't know who it is.
Right. And especially in today's times, and like you'll see in the video here in a second. I mean, these guys are doing this in broad daylight. Like, criminals don't care about what time they're gonna make their move, and this is why you always have to be cautious of your situational awareness. And that's one thing I'm glad, you know, the military always drove home to us, like situational awareness. And you find out it's just not a combat thing. You need to be aware of your surroundings, the whole 360, every time you go out. Even when you're at home, you need to always make sure your home is secure. It's just the times that we live in right now, and we got to adjust to those changes. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this, and like I said, we got a couple of things we're gonna mention, and through this, you know, make your comments, make your suggestions of what you do at your home to ensure your family's safety when you have a stranger coming up to your door. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get to it. This is a very short video. I also will put this down in the description. This was fine. We got this. Well, actually, Mike got this from USA Today, their website. So here we go. Again, like I said, this is broad daylight.
It's not on there, Corey.
Oh, it's not. Oh, hold on, my bag. I forgot to share it. That's my bad, y'all. I forgot to share it. I got ahead of myself.
Bear
My
with us, folks.
apologies.
Bear with us. Technical
These things
difficulties. You know
happen.
how that goes.
These things happen.
Yeah. There we go.
Here we go, y'all. So yeah, as you see, it's broad daylight. Kind of find out this lady was at home by herself.
And that guy at the door with the mask on, with the mask, was selling candy. He had his box of candy and everything.
Yeah. Yep. So they all four were in cahoots.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, it happens that quick. Now, fortunately enough,
Let's show it one more time, because I think it was loading up for a minute there, Corey. It might
we'll
have been
back it
free
up.
framing. And we're going to show it to you again from the beginning, how this guy was at the door.
Yeah, he's at the door. He come there. You know, you think he's innocent. He got a box of candies. What harm could he do, right?
Right. So while he's standing there dealing with the candy, watch what happens.
She gives him the money.
Yeah.
One, boom. Let me see if I can. 1, 2. So you got 4 guys in on this robbery here,
Right.
wearing masks, in broad daylight, forced their way into the home, right?
And clearly you can see this candy guy is in on the whole thing too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he comes back, mask up, and you know.
Incredible, man.
That's something else.
Incredible.
So what you think about that, Corey?
I mean, you know, this is why in our house, if I'm here, I answer the door. Our kids, and I know my wife is watching us, so she'll correct me if I'm wrong. But our kids never answer the door, and still to this day, even though they're grown, they won't answer the door. If I'm here, I answer the door. Now, there are a couple times, I might not hear the doorbell, but my wife will go ahead and answer. But if I'm here, I'm the one answering the door, and I don't go to the door by myself. I'll just say that. I don't go to the door by myself. So, and then I like to step outside and talk to you. I don't stand at the door, because just like this lady here standing at the door, where you allow them to bum rush into your door.
Right in there, yeah.
Yep. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines. Now I will say that there have been times in the past that I've been guilty of engaging in the conversation with the person on the other side of the door. Let them run their little sales pitch spiel, which you got to be careful of doing stuff like that. It's okay not to open the door. If you see somebody, a lot of people can look on the other side of the door without opening it to see who's on the other side of the door. It's okay not to open it. Excuse me. You can communicate with somebody through the door without even opening, right? So rule of thumb that I would encourage people to do is, if you can communicate through the door and you don't know who it is, you don't know this person on the other side of that door, talk to them without even opening the door. And if you ain't interested, you ain't interested. You see what I'm saying? And
Right.
keep it moving. You got to be real careful, because as you see in this video, this was an very unsuspecting deal where the guy was actually looked like he was legitimately selling candy. Because you do get people, especially students or young folks, coming to your door with that big old box of candy trying to sell you some candy. You see what I'm saying?
But don't you think that would kind of would be a red flag? Like, how many people are out going door to door at that age?
At that time, at that age,
candy?
shouldn't they be in school, stuff like that?
Right.
That's a good point.
Shouldn't you be working at that age? Right.
You got
and
all
not,
good points.
I mean, that to me, that would have been a red flag. Like, nah, dude, you need to beat feet. So, another point is, I wrote a couple things down here. And I think we already mentioned, like, especially for women, if you're at home alone, don't answer the door. Right.
It's funny you say that, Corey.
Mhm.
And your instinct would say don't answer the door. The only
Mhm.
reason I would say if somebody knocks on your door, I would actually encourage people to at least acknowledge that you are home and you ain't interested. Because if you don't answer, a lot of times burglars will come to your door, knock on the door. If they don't answer, they'll think ain't nobody home, and they'll use that as a green light to come in and break into your house.
I,
You know what I'm
I I
saying?
see your point. I see your point, but at the same time, I'm thinking, all right, well, let me put it like this then.
Mhm.
Uh, you're at home. Only thing you have is just your door. You don't have a screen door on there. So
Mhm.
when you open that door, you're allowing that gateway. You have no extra barrier
That's
between you
true.
and them,
That's
right?
true.
So I would say, hey, go to your nearest window if you have one close to your front door. Hey, that's thank you. I'm not interested. Thank you. Have a good day or whatnot, and shut your window and go on about your
True.
day. But if you don't have that screen door there to give you that extra protection, so they
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
just you know
Bum rush
bogart their
on
way.
in.
Yeah. I would say just go to your nearest window then and acknowledge them. But I do see your point. That's a very good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I can
Hmm.
see that. Definitely. And I got one of them front doors too that doesn't have an actual screen door to it. So once you open the
Hmm.
doors, you wide open. A lot of homes out here in California are like that, where
Right.
the front entrance doesn't have screen doors or any kind of security door. You know what I mean? So yeah, once you open that door, you're vulnerable now. Which in this
Yeah.
video, this lady was vulnerable when she opened that door like that. And you see
Yeah.
how fast it happened. As soon as she opened
Yeah.
the door, as soon as they did a little conversation to get her thinking that, yeah, I'm legitimately buying some candy here, that's when the
Hmm.
other three guys behind him quickly come in and bump. Now, fortunately, this lady wasn't hurt. They didn't
Yeah.
hurt the lady. They just uh, burglarized her, and that was it, fortunately.
Yeah.
But as we know, that don't always turn out that way. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So you got to be careful when you are, especially when you're home alone, and people just randomly coming to your doorstep in the middle of the day, talking some stuff that you ain't familiar with and you ain't expecting, you know, you just got to be careful today.
Yeah. That's a good point, Frank. He says, so when I'm home and this happens, I answer and ask for the solicitation permit. They say no. I say I'm calling the shares. And that's a good idea. Um,
Very good idea.
yeah.
Matter of fact, that was a common complaint when I was an officer on the street. Is that people would call for door to door solicitors, and one of the main complaints is I asked them to see the city permit because most cities it's their ordinance that you got to have some kind of permit to do door to door solicitation within their city limits. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And that's a great point, Frank. I mean, just if you want to be sure, ask them, hey, that should be the first thing out your mouth is, do you have a city permit to do door-to-door solicitation? And they should be able to show you. In the city that I
Mhm.
worked in, it was required for them to have it visible, so that if you ask, they can just show you right there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't know if every city is like that. You want
No.
to check with your city, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that you can do, and that's a red flag if they don't have a permit.
Yeah.
You know,
I know for us, you can just put the no soliciting sign up there, and they're to honor that. But there's no permits or anything that you need to go
okay,
door to door. So each city, state, locality is definitely going to be different. So Mike and I recommend that you check out your local police officer and see what the city ordinance says about that,
yeah,
to help stop that, because I really don't like that. I mean, especially the neighborhood we live in, it's a new development. We got people coming up all the time trying to sell us stuff, and we just turn them away. To Tony, you're absolutely right. It's a shame this is our society now, but like I said, back in the beginning of the show, it's like we have to we have to um, be aware. We have to have situational awareness in everything that we do.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you do. Now, you can, and we can come up with scenarios all day if you are ever in that position where you got all of a sudden three guys bum rushing coming into your place like that with guns or whatever, and what you going to do, you know? That again, Corey, I think that's another one of those situations where you would that would have to be your decision to decide what you're going to do. If you fight, I think it's more important to know the risks. If you try to fight somebody, well, you might get hurt or killed. You know what I mean? If you
yeah,
don't, the same thing could happen. So it depends. If you in your home, I think you should protect your house the way you feel it's necessary to do. That's the best way I can really answer that question.
I mean, that's one of the things I have down on here. Like, if you're gonna use a weapon, ensure you know what you're doing with that weapon. One, and you understand the after effects after you have used that weapon. Whether outside the home when you shot, whether inside the home when you shot. Clearly, a lot of legality issues are going to play out. If you have to defend your home, but I mean, you're not going to just come in my house and just think you're going to just ramage it and take what you want out of it. And I'm not going to sit here and protect my home and my family that's inside here. So
And
go
keep
ahead.
in mind, if you do have firearms in your home, are you answering the door? Some like Corey said, some people answer the door with the firearm in their possession. Are you that person that's going to answer the door with the firearm in your possession? Like in this case, in this video, odds are this woman didn't have a firearm in her possession when she answered the door, and even more so, the person on the other side whom she was dealing with seemed legit because he had all the props and all was saying all the things that make her think that this was actually a candy sale here when it turned out to not be. And if you don't answer the door with in possession of your firearm, well, it ain't gonna do you no good in that
Right,
situation. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Unless you able to get to it real quick or something, which is highly unlikely, right, Corey?
right.
What you think of that? I mean,
Well, because you're going to have to let your guard down. I mean, I'm not going to say how I have everything situated in my plate, but I'm always a step away from something. Uh, you know, because if you have it upstairs in your bedroom in the gun safe or something like that, and you're downstairs, then you gotta, run all the way upstairs, barricade yourself in your room, get your weapon out while all they're downstairs taking stuff. Right at that point, what's the sense? I mean, by the time you get your gun out and try to come back downstairs, they're probably already gone.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
already did the damage and they're out.
right, right.
Uh,
So
Frank and Zach making some good points. If you answer the door with your gun, how would that play out? Are we to a point now where folks should be answering the door with a firearm in their hand? Are we at that point, do you think? You know what I'm saying? That's
I mean,
a
to each his own. To each his own.
Yeah,
Right.
you're right. You're right.
To each his own. You may feel comfortable not. I mean, maybe you some MMA type, taekwondo type, Bruce Lee dude, and you don't need it, right? You can handle yourself, or a former Golden Glove, and you can use them hands. Everybody's not going to resort to having a firearm at home, but there are different ways. I like to know what our viewers do. I like, would you prefer going to the door with a gun, or you just go to the door without anything and just open it up and wish for the best? I guess you can say.
What if you, like Frank says, what if they call on you for answering the door with a gun and say that you pointed it at them? That's a good point. You definitely got to be careful of that uh, way because you don't want to answer the door and then just randomly or recklessly start pointing your gun at people who are just literally there to do what, non-threatening business stuff either. You don't want to do
Well,
that either, right?
again, that's where I go back to my other point. Make sure you know how to use it. Right. That falls in line with that. Right. All right. Yeah, I have it on me, but are they a threat right now?
Right.
Right
Right.
now, once those three guys come running around the corner with
Oh, it's
masks
on.
on, it's on.
It's on
It's
at
on.
that point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I now know what your intent is. Your intent is to do me harm. I'm gonna stop you before you get into my house. Right. Because if you get into the house, it may be too late.
Yeah.
Now I may try to shut the door and secure, but if you coming and trying to break down my door and get into my home, then you know what? Hey, I hope you
Yeah,
got
it's
some
on
light.
at that point because you can
Yeah,
definitely, obviously, at that point, you can substantiate that there's enough going on here for me to think my life is threatened or the
yeah,
people in my family's lives are threatened,
all
right?
threat. Right.
You forcing your way into my home, well, I'm not going to sit here and just wait for you to break down the door. You know what I'm saying?
No, no.
uh as soon as I get a shot on you, I'm probably gonna shoot you. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
gotta all these things, but you see, all these things you gotta be thinking of. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You gotta understand the scenarios of what could happen to you, what can't happen to you. If you get in a shooting like that because you shot somebody at your doorstep, understand that obviously the police are going to come. They may arrest you. Okay, or
May not.
depends on the circumstances. You just have to be aware of all those things. Make sure
Yeah.
that if you ever do have an incident like that where a firearm, you and your firearm were involved, once the police get there, you make sure you put that firearm down. uh and all those necessary things, because obviously we don't want the police to think you are the person that's a threat either, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you just got to be careful. You just got to be
And
careful.
and Zach makes a good point. With the Ring video, you can't escape that, and that's true. And thank goodness she had this video. Now, it was also stated too in the article that this guy, the Candyman, went to a couple of other neighbors' houses as well before he went to this lady's house, and the guy answered, so they didn't hit the guy, right? And he turned them away, and they went somewhere else, and that person said they yelled out to the window to him that they didn't want any, and then they left.
They love
So
it.
they were picking their targets, right?
Yeah, they
And
were
this, I
finding
think,
the weakest target there to
yeah,
hit it. You know,
yeah.
and
I
like you
mean,
said, Corey, this is in the middle of the day. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
This ain't this ain't in the middle of the night. This is in the
right,
middle of the day
right,
where these kinds of crimes are occurring. You know,
right. These guys are bold now, and this is what I'm saying. And then that this just leads me back to what we talked about last week, Mike. And if you haven't seen our video from last week, we talked about the shooting in the mall in Houston, Texas, right?
Mm.
And how this is happening more and more. Well, over the weekend, here in my neck of woods in Norfolk, we had a shooting at the mall, and one person died, and two other people were injured. Um, and again, you're reading the article and reading what the news putting out. People panicking, they didn't know what to do. Uh, and thank goodness in this mall here, there was, I think, there's one off-duty deputy there with his family, and a firefighter was there with his family. So, what do we tell people to do? First thing you do, Mike, you and I went there. What is our first thing we do? Get our family out. This is what these
Right.
guys
Make
did.
sure your family's safe.
Yep, they got their families out, and then they started getting everybody else out, right?
Yeah.
And then the officer went and I think he made contact with the one victim that we shot and tried to put a tourniquet on one of the injured. So I mean, it's happening, folks. And Mike and
Yeah.
I are just sharing.
And, and like you say, I don't know if a lot of viewers may have seen it, but just a couple of nights ago out here in California, Sacramento area, they had
Yeah.
a shooting in an open area, an open public area. Sounds like it may have been gang related, but nonetheless, you got citizens walking around in this open area where some guys just started shooting at people. You know what I mean? Shooting, whether they were targeting someone or not. A lot of innocent bystanders end up getting hurt or
Uh,
killed.
I think it was six that
So
got killed and
yeah,
12
six
injured or
killed and
something
like
like that.
12 injured. So
See,
like over 100 rounds that was shot. It was all
yeah,
on the news. So you guys, I'm sure you can research that on YouTube or something like that for
yeah,
Sacramento. But yeah, these are situations. If you happen to be out and about and a citizen who's carrying a concealed weapon, just make sure you understand what's going on, what you're doing. If you choose to get involved, make sure you understand what you might have to be dealing with. That's what's important. You know.
yeah. And I think too. I mean, we have to be cautious now when we're going out. Like Anthony said in the comment section a little while ago, it's like it's hard to believe this is, how we have to live now. And you can't no longer go out like we used to, Mike, when we were in our 20s, where we didn't care, we just went out. You got to be cautious now. I couldn't go out to a club now, because I don't think I would be able to enjoy myself inside a club. If I'm like, way past my bedtime, but I don't think I would be able to enjoy myself because my mindset would have me thinking, okay, where are my exes? All right, I'm watching people's demeanor, right? You can call it profiling, you can call it whatever you want. I'm looking out for my safety and whoever I'm with safety.
Yeah, I
Uh,
understand that.
and my wife knows I'm like that when we go out to eat. She know I gotta sit in certain way. I'm looking where my exits are. If this happens, this is what we doing, right? It's sad because you just don't know where something like this is going to happen at. You
That's
think
true.
you think you're safe at home where you're
Yeah.
supposed to be safe, and here this lady gets her door kicked in and get robbed. And thank God she didn't get killed.
Yeah.
Uh, you can't think like nothing is not going to happen anymore. And this is why, I was saying it to a couple folks the other day. You can't go easy on crime. You can't do that. Once these criminals know that they're going to get away, they're just going to get a slap on the wrist. What do you think that's doing? That's sending out that message to these other guys. Oh man, you can go out here and do this. You might get a bond, or hey, they ain't gonna give you nothing. You ain't gonna get nothing. You gonna be back out on the street in
Yeah.
24
I mean,
hours.
and my thoughts on that is, you got to have a deterrent to deter anything. If you don't have a deterrent, well, then if you don't have a consequence, there's no fear of doing what you're doing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We all know that criminals got guns. No matter what gun laws you got out there, criminals got guns. They always going to have guns. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm all for. I'm pro gun, but I'm also pro gun laws. But if you can't be so, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't be so blinded and be so relaxed that if somebody is committing a crime with a gun and people getting hurt and stuff like that, you can't be lenient on your system when it comes to stuff like that. So, like I say, you
no,
got to have a deterrent.
you had to, and it starts by punishing the criminals when they're doing this and not letting them out back on. For example, prime case, and you and since you guys live in California and probably get more of the scoop than we do here on the East Coast, you and Anthony, the Sacramento shooting, I believe the first subject that they caught, he just got out of jail back in February. I believe he was sentenced in 2018, but because he had so much credit for time served or whatever, they let him out, and they were advised not to let him out.
Yeah,
And here he is, let out, a dangerous criminal, convicted felon, assault battery charges, a long list, long rap sheet. A month and a half later, he done took what, 6 other lives. So this is what happens when you don't punish the criminals.
Yeah,
would say,
you can't be relaxed on that on crime. You definitely got to stay hard on crime. Now, are there some? I know we're getting off topic a little bit here, but are there some violations that maybe today shouldn't carry the same kind of weight that they carried 10 years ago? Maybe some things can be looked at, but when it comes to violent crimes, I'll say that when it comes to violent crimes, at a minimum, you gotta be hard and you gotta stay hard on those things on crime.
well, that's what we're talking about. I'm always talking on the violent crimes. You know, these guys got rap sheets. And Mike, I know you've seen rap sheets. I seen them 20, 30 pages long. These
Sure.
guys came into
Career
the
criminal.
world. Yeah, these guys came out the womb with the rap sheet already, right? 18, 19, 20, 30 pages long, people. You name it, they didn't done it, right? And then previously on, and when you look at their criminal history, they've had, violent acts before, and yet they're back out on the street committing it again. It's like at some point we have to, like you said, we have to be hard on them. We can't just, I'm talking about hardcore criminals, these guys that just don't give a crap about nobody life or what. I'm not talking about your pickpocket guy and Jimmy just like stealing, siphoning gas out your car type, the petty theft stuff. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about these guys going out here, no good and well, they're not supposed to have no gun. And I don't care what law you come up with, a criminal is not going to obey your laws. Mike, you can attest to that as well as I can. As many people we've arrested over the years when we were police officers, all these guys, convicted felons, having weapons on them.
Tone has a question. He says how we feel about people owning assault weapons like AR-15s, etc. Should that be allowed or banned? Tone,
Well,
that's a good question. And as you know, Tone, out here in California, that has always been a huge debate when it comes to firearms. And you have to forgive me. I don't have in front of me the exact definition that California defines as assault weapons. I wasn't really prepared for that
well,
conversation yet,
an
Tone.
assault,
But
let me just say, let me go
go
clear the
ahead,
air right
Corey.
now, bro. An AR-15 is not an assault rifle. It is not. It's totally different. Assault rifle. You're not going to combat in a war. I'm not going to drop down in Iraq with no AR-15. We didn't carry no AR-15s in Iraq, right? And besides, here's the thing: you do know a 22 caliber is more dangerous than 5.56. The 22 caliber is a small. In fact, go ahead and talk, Mike. I'm gonna get one for
No,
you.
you're right, Corey. AR-15 is just a semi-automatic rifle. You know what I mean? It's no different than a hunting rifle or anything like that, in my opinion, Tone. Um, you know, now what I do have a problem with are ghost guns. But now in California, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure when you have a ghost gun, you're supposed to have apply for a serial number for that ghost gun. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem with ghost guns. People don't apply for that serial number, and you got these gun pieces, just thrown together to make a complete firearm that people are committing crimes with. Now, do we need to get a handle on ghost guns? Well, sure, absolutely. But other than
Okay.
that, assault weapons. When I think of an assault weapon, I'm thinking of something like a machine gun. You see what I'm saying? Something that's an automatic machine gun. You don't need an automatic. Do I think a citizen needs an automatic machine gun in their homes? No, I
Well,
don't think
first
so.
of all, again, okay, so automatic rifles are illegal. We already have laws in place for those. So the difference between a semi-automatic and a full auto is semi-automatic. It's only going to go boom as fast as I can pull my finger on that trigger. Full auto, and this is the difference. AR-15s aren't full auto, right? Full
Right.
auto, I only have to press my finger down on that trigger like that, and multiple rounds gonna come out. So it's gonna go brah, 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 right? Semi's going bang, 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 bang. Right? Totally different. You're not going to combat with an AR-15. You're not going to. So a 22 caliber, which you've seen in the old Saturday Night Special guns, was probably one of the most dangerous gun rounds out there. This little bullet right here, because it'll ricochet. You can get shot in the foot and it'll travel up your leg and hit your lung or hit your heart and kill you. This little one right here, because it ricochets off the bone. Another thing is I can do more damage with a 12 gauge shotgun than with a AR-15, because the pellets, when the AR, you only get shot with one bullet. With a 12 gauge shotgun, depending on the size of the shotgun, the pellets in it, you getting hit with 9. So you got more bleeding with a shotgun. I'm gonna do a lot more damage to you versus what an AR is gonna do. And
we're gonna have to do a show. We probably gonna have to do a show, and this is a good show to have Joe Leonardo on there, talking about firearms and what you can and can't have. You know, that's a good idea. Now that
yeah, I mean, we can do it, but let I think you're right. We should probably bring it on back.
Right.
But I mean, it's one of those things when people say, you know, AR-15 is a weapon of mass destruction. No, it's not. It is not. And it upsets me when I hear people say that. It's not. When I know for a fact with a 22, I can do more damage. With a shotgun, I can do mad. Heck, with a 30-08, I can do more damage. So it frustrates me when I hear people say that. People who talk this foolishness, one, have never been in combat. Two, probably never even held an AR-15 or shot an AR-15 to know the difference. And just spewing talking points they hear off the news media. Oh, it's a weapon of mass destruction. I know it. Well, how is it? Well, because you can carry 15 rounds, but I can do the same damage with a 6-shooter revolver. It's all about me and Goat had the same conversation the other day about the damage you can do with a revolver, right? So, but that's another topic. You know, back to on topic. Safety.
Hold on, let me answer Tone's question. He says, in layman's terms, what is a ghost gun? Tone, in my understanding, a ghost gun is when you buy several parts of a gun and then you build that firearm yourself. Let's say if you go to a gun store and they sell a Sig Sauer P226, common model of a firearm. Now, that's not a ghost gun. That's a gun that's manufactured by a company all together in one. They're selling you the whole gun right there on the spot in the gun store. And that's a gun. That's not a ghost gun. It's got a serial number already on there and everything. That's not a ghost gun. A ghost gun is, say if I go to a fairgrounds or something, to a gun event or, you know, something like that, and they're selling like a slide, and then they're selling a grip, a pistol grip, and then they're selling a bolt or something like that. You know, they're selling pieces of the firearm, and somebody buys pieces of that firearm and they build their own firearm. They build a pistol based on using those parts that they purchased individually. That's a ghost gun. That's considered a ghost gun.
Well, those parts are serialized, and you can't. There's certain mechanisms in there. And Goat, correct me if I'm wrong. There are certain things you're not going to be able to get from a gun show like that. You can buy that, because I can always buy. Like if I just want a different grip for a gun, one of my guns that's of a different brand, you can do that. When you're talking ghost guns, you're talking those 3D printing type guns,
right?
That have no serial number, no nothing.
Now in California, you're supposed to apply for a serial number if you make something like that or building something like that. But obviously, you know, people don't always apply for that serial number. We're gonna have to do some. I'm gonna have to do some more research on, at least for California goes, Tone, and I'll have some answers for you on some of that stuff next time when we do a show or something like that. But
Yeah,
that's a whole nother whole,
yeah.
whole
I,
nother realm,
I,
you know.
I just want to
Go ahead,
apologize.
Corey.
I just want to apologize. Me and Mike, we can go on these tangents. So I know we've gotten off topic. So I apologize. But it's a lot of things we need to get educated on. You're right, Tony, about
Yeah,
things like this because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Particularly when people are talking about ghost guns. What is a ghost gun? Listen, don't listen to what the news media tell you. Get out and do your own homework and your own research, and go to a gun range, pick up an AR-15 and shoot it. Shoot a 12 gauge shotgun, shoot a 22, shoot different calibers of weapons, and familiarize yourself with it. And I'm all my gun guys on here, Frank, Zach, Goat, myself, everybody tell you an AR-15 is not a weapon that you would take to the battlefield. Yes, you can hunt with AR-15. I take mine when I go hunting uh, with Goat. I take my AR out there as well. And yep, I have a full magazine with me. Am I going to unload all that on it? No. We may do some target practice, right? You only need 1 or 2 rounds for a deer, but it's my choice if I want to have a 30-round magazine.
and yet that's another a big debate out here in California. As you know, out in California, you can't
Yeah,
have
you
anything
got
over 10 rounds. 10
yeah.
round magazine that's the most you can have for a magazine.
See,
And
the
that's
thing
always
is,
been debated.
right, and that's the thing. It's like, all right, who's going to obey that? Surely no criminal is going to do it because they're going to find a way to modify that magazine or still have 30-round magazines and use
Mhm.
those. So again, the only people who are going to abide by those laws are law-abiding citizens, people who are going to do that,
I
and
agree with that.
that's that's what makes me frustrated. It's like, okay, you coming up with laws and stuff that don't affect nobody but law-abiding citizens.
Yeah,
Great.
I definitely agree with that. California got some of, and California is not the only state, but it's one of the few that has some of the strictest gun laws. Period.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, I mean, if it ain't on the gun list, yeah, rule of thumb is if it ain't on the gun list, you ain't getting it. You can't have it. You see what I'm saying? And the gun list is very narrow. For instance, I'm a SIG type of guy. I like SIG Sauer firearms,
Yeah.
and SIG come out with a new firearm. I'm a gun nut. I like guns. I've been around or having guns pretty much all my adulthood life. You know what I'm saying? But for instance, SIGs come out with new guns all the time, but California, you can't have none of those new. We can't have nothing pretty much out here. The list is so small and so narrow, and that's the problem that I have with California. Now I'm going on a tangent, I know, but that's the problem I got with California is I have a problem with somebody telling me you can only have this gun in this color, but you can't have this gun in that color. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Or you can. I'm even fine with the 10-round magazine. That really don't bother me as much as you can't have this model, but you can have that model. When they're the same gun, both 9mm guns or both 45 caliber guns, or whatever the caliber is, both are the same guns, but I can't have this one because it's not on the list. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm going on here. I'm going on here. California is nuts when it comes to firearms. You know what I'm saying?
It
And
is,
yeah,
man, and that's why I'm glad we should be leaving a lot of these things up for states. And if you don't like it, move. Um, yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, don't tell me what I can have. As long as I didn't put my life on the line for this country, don't tell me what I can and can't have. I paid my dues, right? So anyway, what should be the topic for next week, y'all? Well, leave us a comment below, and we'll come up with another good topic. Maybe we get Joe on here next week. Maybe we get Zach, Frank, and Goat on here for a round table because Goat is real knowledgeable. Goat builds guns. He does a lot with ammo. Is very knowledgeable with weapons, and definitely will educate his own
Maybe we
firearms.
can have Goat on the show. Maybe
Yeah,
Goat get on here too.
Goat, Goat. That's what I'm saying. Goat will educate you on it because he laughs at it. I mean, he just don't tell him an AR-15 is a weapon of mass destruction. You just no. I mean, yeah. So yeah, Frank said he'd be down for a round table. Absolutely. Maybe we'll look at that for next week. And do and you maybe even get Anthony on here as well, and just get a well diverse of people on here to educate each other on and get this message out to everyone, because a lot of people really don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Even in California, a lot of folks, not everybody in California are gun nuts or even own firearms, obviously. So there's a lot of questions that people might have about firearms. For instance, basics like what kind of firearm can you have in certain areas? You know what I mean? What calibers are acceptable? What calibers are not acceptable?
Right.
Things like that. I mean, just
Well, see,
basic.
that's the California thing. Here we
That
don't have to
is,
worry.
it is, it is. I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you. Because everybody else got
come over
everything.
here to the free states.
I hear you. I hear you.
So hey, let us know what you think about this, man. And we know we got off on a little bit of tangent tonight, man. We had to get this stuff off our chest because it was eating both of us up about the things that was going on, and home safety is important. So we want y'all to be safe at home. So be cautious about who you open the door to, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Just be careful with that. Have a plan. Um, if you don't have what do you call those doorbells? Ring doorbells with the cameras. You might want to look at that.
Good
Another,
little investment. Good little
yeah,
investment, especially if it
yeah,
records and stuff. You can see people without even going to the door. Look at them on your cell phone. Not that we promoting any particular product. I'm just
right,
saying,
yeah,
that's a good tool to have if you want to swing.
yeah. I mean, and extra exterior lights around your
Yeah.
house. I know we talked about on other shows that we did. I think one of the first ones we did with Joe is, when it comes to the layout, your landscape out in front of your house, cut the bushes down from around your windows. So,
And
uh,
contact your local law enforcement agency. Sometimes
yeah,
they offer stuff like home security surveys on your house to tell you, give you pointers on what
yeah,
is safe and what's not, or the kind of locks you have on your doors, the kind of
yeah,
shrubbery you have out in front of your house. They can offer stuff like that. Check with them.
yeah. That's a good
It's
point, Mike.
always good to be lit up, well visible, and make sure your dresses are real visible on your house. Again, we're getting off on another topic, I understand, but hey, all these things popping in our heads, Corey. When it
I
comes to this
know, man.
stuff.
I know. Yeah, it's just. I mean, that's
I
why
used
we
I
don't.
used I used to do home security surveys when I was a police officer. For I did that for about 4 years in a particular assignment. So we know about home security surveys and how to do them and what's safe and what's not.
So, hey, let us know how you like this show tonight. Share this out, and definitely I will let you guys know what we come up with for next week. Again, if we do it, it'll be on a Thursday. So if you can want to be a part of it, just hit us up, and we'll make it happen. Mike, any final words?
No, you guys be safe and have a good weekend for those of you who are on your weekend or getting ready to start your weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same sandbox. Y'all have a blessed rest of your week and a glorious weekend. And we thank y'all for watching. And peace and head grease.
All right, peace out.
Peace.